What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. And today will be my final weekly mock draft of the 2022-23 NFL season. I'm going to start to transition the content into more of the 7-round team mock drafts after this and player profiles. So this will probably be my last mock draft for quite some time, probably up until maybe a month before the actual NFL draft in April. So yeah, this will be my last weekly mock. And then the way that my scheduling is going to work is I believe I'm going to be doing team mock drafts Monday and Wednesday, and then a player profile on Friday. I mean, things are always subject to change. I might put an extra one in there every once in a while. Depends on my actual job work schedule. But before we get into everything today with this video, I just want to say my prayers and thoughts go out to Damar Hamlin and his entire family. I mean, it's just an unprecedented event taking place on live TV, and my thoughts and prayers go out to him, his family, the Bills, Tee Higgins as well. He must not feel too great being a part of that play as well. Just an absolute freak accident, horrified to see, and really the main thing is that he comes out of this okay. So I'm hoping and praying. I know all of you watching are hoping and praying as well that he will come out of this okay. Football aside, just as a person and as a human being, we all hope that Damar Hamlin will come out of this and be okay. And if you guys know, he did have a GoFundMe toy fund going on. I'm going to be linking that in the pinned comment below. So if you guys want to donate or haven't donated, or even if you just want to spread the word about it, I believe his goal was $10,000, and at the time of recording, it's over $4 million. So hopefully when Damar gets better, everyone can give him this great news and see what he has done for the community, even in his state right now. So I'm going to keep that as the pinned comment below. So if you want to donate, you're more than welcome to. If you want to share it, more than welcome to. I just want to get the word out as much as I possibly can as well. So without further ado, we are going to dive into it. Pick one is the Houston Texans. You already know what this pick is for me. It is going to be Bryce Young. I know Bryce Young's size comes into question, but his processing ability, his accuracy, and his arm strength are just pocket presence. He is second to none in this draft, in my opinion, and has been my number one for quite some time now. Moving on to the Chicago Bears at pick number 2. I'm going to go with Will Anderson here. Actually, I had an interesting discussion on Twitter with a Twitter follower of mine, and he said that he thinks that the Chicago Bears are going to go all in on Daron Payne in free agency. And I got to be honest with you, I really like the sound of that. I know that this is all hypotheticals. He could easily re-sign back in Washington or somewhere else for that matter. But the thought of Daron Payne and Will Anderson Jr. next to each other is a really, really interesting prospect. So I'm going into this thinking that Chicago is going all in on Daron Payne, and that leaves edge as their biggest need. So I'm going to go Will Anderson Jr. here. And then consequently to that, Seattle picks Jalen Carter. I know they play a 3-4, but he could easily play a defensive end in a 3-4. 6'3", 6'2" or 6'3", 300 pounds. He is absolutely fantastic. One of the best defensive prospects I've ever laid my eyes on. So I'm going Jalen Carter to Seattle, the best player in the draft here on Mock Draft Database, and my personal number one prospect as well. Then the Arizona Cardinals are a little bit of an interesting situation. There's so many different ways you can go. I think in this draft class, number 4 is a little bit too high to be going offensive line. I don't think that this is an offensive line class like we've seen in recent years past. I think it's a little bit on the weaker side, or a little bit back heavy, more of late first round, second, third round guys, but not really anyone I'm totally confident taking all the way at 4. Kind of same thing with cornerback. Top 5 is kind of iffy for me for cornerback this year, even though we have seen so many guys go in the top 5 the last few years. You think Jeff Okuda, Derek Stingley, and Sauce Gardner were top 5 picks last year as well. I'm going to go with Myles Murphy, though. I think Arizona really has a lot of needs everywhere. Zach Gallen is hitting free agency, and J.J. Watt is retiring at the end of the season. So that leaves a massive hole on the defensive line. I'm going to go with Myles Murphy, who is the best remaining edge prospect, in my opinion. Then Indianapolis. I'm definitely going to go quarterback here. I'm going Will Levis, though. I really think I read a report that there's a few teams in the NFL that view the quarterback prospects as Bryce Young, Will Levis, and then C.J. Stroud. And I have a weird feeling that the Indianapolis Colts are just one of those teams. And it seems like a very Indianapolis Colt pick to me. I don't know. I can see Will Levis. Maybe it's because of the color scheme of Kentucky. I could see Will Levis more in an Indianapolis Colts uniform than I can see C.J. Stroud. And I really think that Ohio State thing with C.J. Stroud just has a lot of people, kind of scared. But I think Will Levis has the best intangibles. Him and Anthony Richardson have the best intangibles and the best overall look of a quarterback going into this class. So I think Indianapolis takes Will Levis here. Detroit, I am going to go with a cornerback here. And my CB1 on the board, it's not Keely Ringo. It's not Christian Gonzalez. It's Joey Porter Jr. for me. And I got to be honest with you, Joey Porter Jr. and Christian Gonzalez are really my 1A and 1B. So it's pretty interchangeable. But I think Joey Porter Jr. is going to show at the combine in his pro days just how athletically gifted he is at the cornerback position. And I think that's a massive need for the Detroit Lions. And moving on to number 7, you have the Atlanta Falcons. Really, really tempted to go running back here. Really, really tempted to go C.J. Stroud here as well. But I'm going to go with Tyree Wilson. I think that the defensive line of the Atlanta Falcons is just too big of a need to pass up, especially like a player like Tyree Wilson. So going Tyree Wilson here, a very, very versatile defensive lineman. Then an interesting case here. Now, hear me out. I got C.J. Stroud going to the Vegas Raiders. And the reason why is if you guys are up to date on financial situations of NFL teams, you know that the Raiders have probably one of, if not the worst financial situations in the NFL right now. I mean, they are completely cash poor at this point. The revenue stream just isn't what it should be. And, the Raiders are basically hemorrhaging money. And also, you have to believe that Derek Carr has played his last snap as a Las Vegas Raider. I mean, especially after what Jared Stidham did against the best defense in the league in San Francisco, putting up 350-plus passing yards and keeping them into the game all the way through overtime. You got to think that Derek Carr's days as a Vegas Raider are numbered, especially with his cap hit being so low if they trade or cut him in this offseason. So I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud. Probably the cheapest option at quarterback, if we're being honest. Or, they could keep Jared Stidham the way that he looked. But, yeah, I think they're going to have to go the cheaper route, and they're going to have to get rid of a lot of players. I wanted to go Bijan Robinson here as well because I feel like Josh Jacobs has priced himself out of Vegas. I feel like they are not even going to consider re-signing him, not even franchise tagging him, just because of how expensive he's going to be after the monster season that he's having. Moving on to Carolina. Hear me out again, back-to-back picks. I'm going Anthony Richardson. I think Anthony Richardson really, really embodies a more raw version of Cam Newton, and obviously those were some of the best days in Carolina in recent memory with Cam Newton. And also, to be honest with you, as a Jet fan, Sam Darnold has really looked fairly decent at the quarterback position in Carolina. If I'm Carolina, I extend the offer to Sam Darnold or a 1 to 2 year bridge quarterback deal. I sign Anthony Richardson. I mean, I don't really think this team is anywhere near competing, maybe in a dead division like the NFC South. If they get 1 or 2 more wins, they could be competing next year. But I really don't think they're anything more of a legitimate division contender, really. So I think if you let Anthony Richardson develop, you build the team around him 1 or 2 years, and then Sam Darnold goes his separate ways, I think Anthony Richardson could step in and be a very, very great quarterback, especially if Jim Harbaugh is coming, from what the recent reports are saying. Moving on to number 10, you have Philadelphia, a complete surplus pick for me here. Philadelphia, I'll be real with you guys. I have no idea which direction Philadelphia should go with this number 10 overall pick. If I did trades, I'd probably be trading this number 10 overall pick. But I don't do trades in these drafts this early, so I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to go with Christian Gonzalez here. James Bradbury is having a really, really great year. So is Darius Slay. James Bradbury is on the opposite side of 30 years old. He's also going to be a free agent. I don't think that they extend him. I think they go with Christian Gonzalez and Darius Slay, and they have a lot of decent young cornerbacks waiting in line as well. But I don't think any of those guys scream number 1 cornerback like Christian Gonzalez does. And I think he's definitely worked his way into top 10 consideration with the way that he's played this season. Then you have the Tennessee Titans at pick number 11. And I'm going to go with Peter Skoronski here. I think Paris Johnson Jr. is a better tackle prospect, but Tennessee has some real issues on the offensive line. Really why I like Peter Skoronski here is he offers so much versatility. He could be a tackle at the next level. He could be better suited for guard. I just love the fact that you could probably stick him anywhere on the offensive line and he's going to do a stellar job. So I like Skoronski. They're also the most polished offensive linemen in this entire class. Houston at number 12 takes the number 1 wide receiver. Absolutely. Quentin Johnston just solidified himself as wide receiver 1 in the college football semifinal against Michigan. I think he went for 6 or 7 catches, 170 yards and a touchdown. He was incredible. Then you have my New York Jets here at pick number 13. Oh, isn't it so sad that 5 weeks ago the Jets were at pick 25 and now we're all the way back at 13? What a disastrous second half of the season for my Jets. But we're going offensive tackle. Paris Johnson Jr. is here. He is my tackle 1 prospect in this draft, and we get him. Paris Johnson Jr. would instantly start at probably right tackle, maybe even left tackle, honestly. I don't even know what's going on with Mekhi Becton. But either way, the Jets need upgrades at both tackle positions, and he slots right in, and he is a starter from day 1. Then you have the Washington Commanders here at pick number 14. And I'm going with Kelee Ringo. I really would like to go Devin Witherspoon here. I would like to do more of a deep dive on Devin Witherspoon, but he is certainly rising up my ranks and a lot of people's ranks as well. Kelee Ringo didn't have the greatest day against Marvin Harrison Jr. Granted, I don't think anyone would really have a great day against Marvin Harrison Jr. Only gave up 1 catch for 16 yards and a touchdown, but he was quickly moved off of Marvin Harrison Jr. as he was consistently getting cooked. I think Kelee Ringo's future is better off as a safety at the NFL level. The more tape I watch on him, I think he's going to be a very average corner in the NFL. But that versatility and that speed and that size just makes me think that teams are going to take a chance on him high. And Washington is a team that absolutely needs cornerback depth. So I'm going with Kelee Ringo here. Then at Pittsburgh at number 15, going to go offensive tackle. Going to go Broderick Jones. I really like Cam Smith here as well. I like Brian Bresee here as well, but I think that the offensive line is just too disastrous to pass up, especially with all the tackle prospects that are still left on the board. Then at number 16, you have the Green Bay Packers, and I'm going Michael Mayer here. Every tight end on the Green Bay Packers roster is a free agent this upcoming year, and I was hell-bent on a tackle prospect in this upcoming draft, but they just signed Elton Jenkins to a 4-year, I believe it was a $60 million extension. So that kind of ixnays that. I kind of like Osiris Torrance here as an interior offensive line help as well, but I don't think you're going to be drafting a guard this high in this caliber class with Michael Mayer sitting right here. So I think Michael Mayer, this is a pick with Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay in mind. I think that he would be Aaron Rodgers' new best friend at number 16. Then at number 17, you have the Detroit Lions with their 2nd pick in the 1st round. And I'm going with Trenton Simpson. Definitely, this defense has definitely played a lot better after the first 7 games of the season. But I still think that they need massive upgrades in certain positions. I know linebacker is one of those positions that doesn't get drafted as highly anymore. But Trenton Simpson, with his speed, with his athleticism, could be a maniac on this defense for the Detroit Lions. Could definitely be the leading tackler. Could be exactly what they need in the middle of that defense. Then you have the Seattle Seahawks here at pick number 18. And I'm going with a little bit of a surprise here. I'm going with Drew Sanders. And the reason why is I feel like Drew Sanders fits so well in what Seattle is trying to accomplish at the linebacker position. Because they play a 3-4, Drew Sanders has the size to play outside linebacker in a 3-4, but also has everything you need to be an inside linebacker at the next level. I think he's just so versatile. They could kind of plug him in anywhere that they want next to Jordan Brooks when he eventually comes back after his torn ACL. They're going to need someone that steps up in the middle of that defense, and Drew Sanders could 100% be that guy. 9.5 sacks, over 100 tackles in this past year at Arkansas. Phenomenal prospect. I think he's rocketing up a lot of draft boards. Then you have the Jacksonville Jaguars here at 19, and I'm gonna stick to my guns here like I did a couple weeks ago. I really think that they're going with some cornerback help here. I know that they could possibly use a tackle. Jawan Taylor is a free agent. I don't think they need receiver help as much as a lot of people think. You're coming into next year with Calvin Ridley arguably as your wide receiver 1, and then you have Christian Kirk as wide receiver 2 and Zay Jones as wide receiver 3. That is a heck of a trio, if you ask me. If Michael Mayer was still on the board, I would seriously consider him here, but I think that the secondary could use a massive upgrade. They've thrown so much money at that position over the past few years and haven't gotten much production out of it. I like Cam Smith a lot here at number 19, excuse me. Then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at number 20. Pretty simple. I've kept this narrative for weeks, months now, that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have very little money to spend, and they have big-time free agents in the secondary. I think they're not going to be able to retain those guys, and they're going to have to look for someone here. And that's Devin Witherspoon, a big boundary cornerback that has a lot of polish at Illinois, and he comes with good size, 6'1", I believe 190 pounds, 185, 190 pounds, something like that. Good speed. He's just a very, very well-rounded cornerback. Then you have the New England Patriots here at number 21, and here's what starts my little string of wide receivers coming off the board here. Where I pick number 21 and only one wide receiver is taken off the board. That ends now. Jordan Addison is available. Jordan Addison will be picked. A lot of people's wide receiver one, I think the consensus now is Quentin Johnson as wide receiver one, but a lot of people still love Jordan Addison. I think he'd be an immediate fit in New England right then and there. Then you got the Giants going Jackson Smith-Njigba here. Could they go linebacker? Sure. Could they go cornerback? Sure. Daniel Jones, if he is re-signed, which I believe he should be and he will be, needs another big-time weapon, and JSN could be that big-time weapon in the slot for them. And then Baltimore here, I'm going with a Marquise Hollywood Brown prototype here. Lamar Jackson had so much success throwing the ball downfield when Hollywood Brown was healthy. I'm going to get him a Hollywood Brown type of receiver, but a little bit bigger. I'm going Jalen Hyatt here. I really think that this is, if Lamar Jackson is re-signed long-term, he's going to need a speedy downfield target to throw to. And I think Jalen Hyatt and Lamar Jackson is a perfect match. Then you have the LA Chargers here at 24. This is where Brian Breesy finally comes off the board here. I know, Austin Johnson, Sebastian Joseph Day. The fact of the matter is Brian Breesy could be an excellent addition to the interior of this defensive line, and I think it's something that they need too. He's he's a block eater. He's a good run defender, and that's something that the Los Angeles Chargers absolutely need. So I'm going Brian Breesy here. At number 25, the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going safety. I'm going Brian Branch. Every safety and their mother on the Cincinnati Bengals roster is a free agent this year. Even if they re-sign Jesse Bates, even if they re-sign Von Bell, one or the other, they're still going to need another starting caliber safety. I know they drafted Dax Hill in the first round. We haven't seen too much of him this year, and when we have, he's been more of the slot cornerback type of guy. So I think that he kind of retains that role in the secondary, and Brian Branch steps in and replaces one of those two free agent safeties. Then you have the Minnesota Vikings here at number 26. And I'm going with Emmanuel Forbes here. I still, Clark Phillips still scares me. Great cornerback, but just so small for the NFL level. And the Minnesota Vikings need another boundary cornerback very, very badly. Patrick Peterson has been actually great this year, but he's not getting any younger. Then you have Cam Dantzler on the other side, who is kind of a little bit prone to injuries as well. I think cornerback is a position where you can never have too much talent, and I'm going to Emmanuel Forbes here. Amazing career in the SEC, actually, for Mississippi State. 14 interceptions in 3 years. He is pretty fantastic. Great ball hawk. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys here at number 27, and I'm doing it. Bijan Robinson is on the board. I don't really care what you guys say. Do you really think that if Jerry Jones is drafting at pick number 27 and Bijan Robinson is on the board, do you really think he's not going to go out and get him? I absolutely think that that's the case. Every time we try and guess what the Dallas Cowboys are going to do, they do the absolute reverse of what we think that they're going to do. I don't think that Tony Pollard is going to be re-signed. I don't think he's going to be really considered, considering that Ezekiel Elliott is still getting paid so much money. I don't think that they're going to double dip and pay Tony Pollard probably the same amount of money that they're going to have to pay Ezekiel Elliott. I think they let him walk. They kind of just ride out the rest of the Ezekiel Elliott contract. They get whatever they can with him on the roster. And then it's the Bijan Robinson show after that. Denver at pick number 28. I'm going Anton Harrison here, a guy that's really flown up my boards last couple weeks, looking like a lot of people's tackle number one or tackle two. Anton Harrison has played some great football lately, and I really, really like him here to Denver. I think they, even though they don't on paper look like they need offensive line help, if you watch their games, they absolutely need some offensive line help, long term as well. And that's what Anton Harrison can bring. Then Buffalo at pick number 29, another team that their offensive line isn't as great as it looks on paper. And the reason why is because Josh Allen is so mobile that he doesn't get sacked as much as he probably should. I'm going Osiris Torrance here, a guy who has massive appeal as a guard at the next level, 6'5", 346 pounds, but also has the quickness and the hands and the strength to play tackle as well if needed. So just that line versatility just means so much to me, as you guys know if you've been avid followers or listeners of my channel. And then you go to Kansas City with pick number 30. I'm going with edge, and I'm going Isaiah Foskey here. Another player that probably could go a lot higher than he's going in my draft here. 9.5 sacks at Notre Dame, just constant pressure. 6'5", 265 pounds, really personifies that 4-3 defensive end prototype. And then with the last pick in the first round, you have the Philadelphia Eagles. They went Christian Gonzalez with the 10th overall pick at number 31, kind of keeping that same energy as I did with Kansas City. They need defensive end help. You know, Robert Quinn is going to be a free agent. Brandon Graham is in his mid-30s, also going to be a free agent. Going Jared first here, a guy that I've been high on recently that has eked his way into my first round mocks the last few weeks or so, and I think it will be a great fit for the Philadelphia Eagles. And then with the first pick in the second round, we're going to go with Robert Soderholm, a long snapper from VMI. I really think that he could do some damage at the next level for the Houston Texans. I think it would be a great pick in the second round. I'm absolutely kidding. Please don't think that I'm being serious with that. But there you have it. There is my last first round mock draft for quite some time now, at least of the 2022 NFL season. I might do one after the Super Bowl is over. That's because then we know for sure that the draft order is completely set at that point. So I might do a 3-round mock draft maybe the day after the Super Bowl. Who knows? We'll see what's going on then. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, please leave a comment, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The draft content, believe it or not, is going to be ramping up even further. And also, do me and everyone else a favor. If you are still watching right now, please just go to the link in my pinned comment and look at the toy drive that is going on. Damar Hamlin's toy drive that is over $4 million at this point. Please donate if you can. If you can't, please share the link. Let's get it out there. Let's try and get it up to 5 million, 6, 7, 8, 10, whatever it may be. Let's try and get it up there so it could lift his spirits when he eventually comes to. Thank you guys so much for watching today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.